is I'll share my slides and I'll do the presentation first, and then we can always go and do the Q&A afterwards. So have I shared my screen? No, I haven't. There we go. There we go.
Making just as people are in the waiting room, I'll accept them in as we go, and we are streaming around the world outside of the Zoom. So welcome everybody as you are tuning in. We have got making tea, which always does make me laugh, and we've got a fantastic session lined up on FOMO marketing, fear of missing out, all of that, and how we can bring it more closely to home and hospitality. So making, the floor is yours, my friend.
Amazing. So so the title is How to Create FOMO on Social Media for Your Business in 5 Steps and 3 Months, with an asterisk. Individual results may vary. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about myself. So my name's Making Sang, first name May King. I call myself the FOMO Creator. What that means is that I create live content on social media. So I'm a live tweeter. I do Instagram stories, LinkedIn posts, Facebook stories. I'm a live correspondent. So I'm with my little mic and I'll go and interview people. And I'm an Energizer bunny, a chief pom-pom waver. So for any community, I'll sort of lift people's spirits and help answer questions and so on live for an event. So that's what a FOMO creator does. But what is FOMO? Why should we care? Well, FOMO means the fear of missing out, and I will talk about bit more about that and why it really is incredible for our business, no matter what industry you're in. What is social media and what is PR? Because FOMO bridges the gap between social media and PR, and that's the missing link that people don't do on social media at the moment, or they don't do enough of. So I did mention about 5 steps in 3 months, and basically I'm going to talk about the 5 steps which spells the word brand to get you to FOMO. Then I'm going to talk about a few case studies, any resources that I've got right at the end. They're all free, and Q&A right at the end. So what is FOMO? So we'll have heard about the phrase FOMO. FOMO, if you were to Google it, it is anxiety that an exciting or interesting event may currently be happening elsewhere, often aroused by posts seen on social media. Now, when I first called myself the FOMO creator, got a few private messages. FOMO? I don't want FOMO. I want JOMO, the joy of missing out. But do you want the joy of your prospective clients missing out on your business? Oh, no. So in a business sense, FOMO is a good thing. It's positive anxiety. You want to build your community and get them so buzzed and excited about what it is you do that they can't wait to buy your product and service from you. Okay. Now we've got a few Americans in the room. Maybe some Brits will know this film, The Truman Show. If you're too young to know what the film is, Jim Carrey was filmed 24/7. His character was filmed 24/7, apart from when he was in the bathroom. And we can create our own Truman Show. We can create our own reality TV show, if that makes sense, because we're all incredibly nosy, but we need to know who we are. People need to know who we are as a person before they will even think about buying from us, okay? So FOMO bridges the gap between social media and PR. Back in the day, you may need to hire a PR agency to do your press releases and make some big announcements. We can do all of that ourselves on social media. And social media is not just a place for advertising. Don't do that, because people need to get to know who you are first. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So FOMO is bridging the gap between social media and PR. It's really about creating our own TV show, in effect. Okay. Now, this is how effectively a lot of people use social media. Before social media came along, we would advertise. We would go on yellow pages or white pages, or advertising magazines, and appear on the radio. Okay, and those ads would be repetitive, and they'll just keep going on and on and on until they bore us into buying from into people buying from us. Now, we can't do that on social media, okay? Because as a consumer, we've got the power. We've got the power to Google. We've got the power to decide who we like and who we don't like. So if people don't know who you are as a business yet, then we've got a lot of hard work to do before we even get to the advertising bit. Okay. If you start telling people, hey, look at my Airbnb place, or hey, look at my, my services, my hotel or whatever, my B&B, and people don't know who you are yet, they might think that you're selling to them. And we don't like being sold to, do we, guys? Do we? Do we like being sold to? Anybody? No, I don't think we do. So if we don't like being sold to as consumers, why are you selling to your potential folk as well? Okay. And I say that with true compassion and love, because I made the mistake of spamming, when I first started too. So the 5-step plan, I've done it 3 times. Started my business in London, started it again in Brisbane in Australia. I lived there for 6 years. I went there to support my husband. And then our marriage had an expiry date, which I didn't realize. And then immigration said, no, you've got to go back home. So I had to rebuild my life, rebuild my business in 2016. But I use this 5-step plan on every part of my journey, and it works. So B is for branding and community. R for relationship building. A is for authority and BTS. No, I don't mean that K-pop band. I mean behind the scenes. And that's where FOMO starts. Then I talked about your PR agency. You can create your PR agency, show the world and tell the world how amazing you are, and get famous on social media. So telling your lurkers, I'll talk more about the lurkers in a moment, your reviews, your customer reviews, how happy your customers are. And then when the time is right, direct communication. So you can then communicate to people effectively when the time is right. So let's go into branding. So in 2016, as I said, had to rebuild my life. So what I did was I started writing, and I wrote a blog called Making Mistakes. And I started talking about business. I started talking about social media strategy, what I did, what works, what doesn't. And then within 3 months, this is where the 3 months bit came in, I got headhunted by Google. And so in Sheffield, I was asked to work with a project to help students, members of the public, and businesses with their social media strategy. I was also hired to speak in Europe as well. So that was me in Lithuania, which is great. So this stuff works. So I'm going to talk about you guys, though, first of all. So branding. Brand to FOMO is not linear. No one follows you from day one of your business, okay? It is a journey. So people might, you guys will not have heard of me up until today. And hopefully within 3 seconds, you'll have probably formed an opinion of me. You probably like me. You probably think, what an idiot. I don't know, okay? But we need to get to know each other a little bit more, don't we? We don't want to, give a proposal, will you marry me? But that's what people are doing on social media at the moment. They're posting, and they are just posting, buy my stuff. You're effectively asking someone to marry you. What about the courting? What about the dating? What about getting to know each other, the building relationships? That is where the real work happens, okay? Before you even get to the selling bit. And when you're building your brand and when you're building your community, I'm talking about community. I'm not talking about followers. I'm talking about your fans, the people who really love you, not the numbers, okay? It doesn't matter whether you've got 1,000 fans, 100 fans on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. It's the people who are really engaged with your stuff, who are watching your stuff, the lurkers, okay? We need to start building a relationship with them somehow. And we do that with social media and showcasing our authority by posting good quality information onto social media, by showing behind the scenes stuff. Okay, this is the A in brand. Okay, this is where the FOMO starts, because if people started to get to know you, they start to like you, they start to trust you, they're seeing your social media, they're lurking on your stuff. They haven't get engaged with you yet, they haven't shared your stuff, they haven't liked, they haven't commented, but they're lurking and they're definitely there. But when the time is right for them, they may get in touch with you. So this is where the FOMO begins. So FOMO tip number 1 then, everything, and I mean absolutely everything, starts with your brand, your website, your social media profiles, how you look, how you're here on Zoom today. this is all an image, okay? I'm 5'3", I'm rather short, so I wear a hat to make me memorable. I've got a big belly laugh, hopefully to make me memorable, okay? This is all to do with my branding. I'm not suggesting you go out and wear a sparkly hat, but we do need to be memorable online as well as in person and on Zoom as well. So absolutely everything is to do with your brand, not just the way that you look, your profile picture on social media. It's also by the way that you interact with people as well. So branding is apparently the way of differentiation. It's the way that consumers identify and experience a product or service or person by the look, taste, feel, and sound. Okay, now you guys are all in hospitality. It is all about the experience. How can you portray that experience online? We need to do that. We've got, according to Google, 7 seconds to impress somebody if they're looking at your website or your social media on their desktop. We've got 4 seconds to impress somebody on your phone. So we need to make those 4 seconds count, or those 7 seconds. So branding is absolutely everything. And we're talking about building community. So contrary to popular belief, build it and they will not come, okay? FOMO is all about a combination of your brand and building your community, building relationships and all the other bits as well that I talked about as well. So how are we going to do that? Well, FOMO tip 2 is relationship building, okay? Creating content for the lurkers. Please, 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 I'm sure you may have heard this before. Don't get obsessed with how many fans or followers you have. It's nothing to do with that. It's all about the lurkers, because you're all lurkers, aren't you? You've all scrolled on your phone having a look at other people's stuff, haven't you? Come on, we're all lurked, right? So if we're lurking, chances are your potential clients are also lurking as well. So let's make that our content really count, okay? And so you need to, this is a combination of your brand and relationship building. We need to reply to every comment. You know, if we get a comment or we get a like, if you're just starting out, if someone has taken the time to like your post, why don't you thank them? Say thank you, okay? When you've received a comment, why don't you thank them and try and carry on the conversation? Thank you so much. How was your day? Now, we've all been to a party, right? Have we all been invited to a party at one point or another? I'm sure we have, right? And you may have got a circle of people. 2 people are talking, the rest of them are listening. The rest of them are lurkers, okay? That's what's happening. So when you're commenting on your post, if someone has responded and you reply, you're creating content for the lurkers. And if they're lurking on your post, lurking on the way that you communicated with someone, you are building your fan base. Okay, so create content for the lurkers. It's not just in the posts that you put out, not in the posts that you publish. It's also in the comments, the way that you interact with people in networking groups. You know, you're part of a membership now. Why don't you interact with each other and help each other out and in memberships? Because you never know who knows somebody. And then there are online groups that you can get involved with: Facebook groups, Twitter chats, LinkedIn groups. There's lots of Zoom meetings that's happening at the moment. Even on Messenger, I'm part of the messaging groups like WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, things like that. There's a chap called Gary Vaynerchuk, or Gary V. There's a link at the bottom here. If you type that in, bit.ly, in the title case, you'll be shown to a blog post where he helps you to build relationships in the hashtags. So if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Instagram, then that will be really useful for you. But in a nutshell, it's basically, how would you talk to someone if they were in front of you? That's how you talk to someone online. That's all it is. People struggle about what to write on social media. Just talk to someone as you would talk to them in front of you. Now, we're all nice people here, right? Hopefully we're all nice people and we're not serial killers or anything like that. Hope not. So just be nice. Just be nice. That's all you need to do in order to build relationships. Be relentlessly helpful, as one of my dear friends often says. Now, how do you network online? People get scared about commenting. They get scared about liking, thinking, oh, I don't want to make it about me. But it isn't about you. It's about your lurkers. It's about the impact that you can make for other people. It's about, your beautiful place that, you want to have, available for hire. So don't make it about you as such. Make it about, the person that you're going to, whose life you're going to impact. And this is about creating content for the lurkers. Okay, so try not to get imposter moments rather than imposter syndrome. Imposter moments is where things are fleeting, they're momentary. Think on that imposter moment. Think on it, reflect on it, and then move on. Learn from the lesson and move on. Okay. Also, in building relationships as well, we need to remember that the written word always sounds stronger than intended, because the emotion is actually placed by the other person, by the reader, rather than the writer. So Maya Angelou said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So again, someone's written a comment, give them the respect that they deserve by commenting back, and try and hold that conversation for as long as possible, because you're creating content for the lurkers. The third step then is showcase authority and behind the scenes stuff. About your business, about your your hotel or your building. Okay, so tell people about it. Show behind the scenes stuff. What most people tend to do is show after the fact. They'll take a proud picture when the thing's done. What about in the lead up to it? The reason why we get up, that we love these reality TV shows is because, like Great British Bake Off, or I don't know if anyone watches Kardashians or whatever, we want to see behind the scenes stuff. We want to see the highs. We want to see the lows. We want to see what's going on, not just the highlighted, edited bits right at the end. So we need to do the same. Okay. This is just a picture of me when I was in San Diego before lockdown. And I was doing my thing, live tweeting. There were two women there, and I cracked a joke and said, you notice anyone at the top there? The number one live tweeter. And they went, what, you tweeted that? And I said, yeah. And I also tweeted for my clients as well, and they're position 7. And they looked at each other, looked at me and said, oh my goodness. And then we got into a conversation. So I was really proud of that moment. So I put it on social media. And Muhammad Ali actually said, it isn't bragging if you can back it up. So if you do have the best place, you're an award winning, go and shout about it. Don't be British about it. Go and shout about it. If you've had a 5-star review, don't be British about it. Shout about it. We're creating content for the lurkers. Okay. Don't worry about the people who are going to judge you, because if they're going to judge you, they're probably not your customers anyway. Okay. So let me say that again. Don't be British about it. Be proud of it. Just say how it is. It isn't bragging if you can back it up. Now, behind the scenes stuff, then what do I mean by that? Well, I did an interview with, several hospitality businesses on Instagram. I've got an account called Voices of Hospitality, and I interviewed people. It was a 5-6 minute interview with businesses, and then lockdown happened. So I just wanted to raise awareness with my business partner about these businesses. And what we did was, from that 7-minute clip, that 7-minute interview, we created a trailer. That's pre-FOMO. Then we created live FOMO. So when we published it, we talked about the story itself. And then post FOMO, just in case you missed it. So from that one video, I actually created 37 pieces of content. Okay. So one video I posted on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, told different stories. I altered the stories ever so slightly, but that's the way that you can actually really spread the word about what you do. So don't create one post about an event. Create lots of posts in the lead up to it, okay? And you're never going to be bothering anyone, because no one's going to be watching your account 24/7 to watch everything that you do, okay? So it's just a few ideas on how to create a pre-live and post FOMO there. So FOMO tip number 4 then, notoriety. Create your own PR agency. Hang out where all the journalists hang out. So this lady on the left-hand side, she has a business that creates PR for pet businesses. But she created this post. It was just, it was a booklet that her clients would receive when they become a member. Okay. Now, from that Instagram post, she got 2 signups already. Now, it wasn't that Instagram post that generated those 2 new clients. it was because of all the lurking that those people had done all the time. She showed up, she showcased how amazing her business is. She showcased the impact that she had on her clients. She did it on a regular basis. She showed a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And when the time is right for your clients, they will become your clients. Okay. And on the right-hand side, I did have a business called Making Tea. And because I built relationships with people, people recommended me for my tea services. And I appeared on TV, appeared on radio, even though I've been away from the country for 6 years. When I came back, I rebuilt relationships and I got a bit of press coverage. But that all came through social media because journalists hang out on Twitter. But that's another subject. So step number 4 then, get famous, talk about your reviews. Definitely, shout about it. When you've got a Facebook review, make a pretty picture from it and put it onto Instagram if you want to. If someone has sent you an email, create a pretty picture and put that onto social media. Create that buzz and excitement. Create that FOMO. Now, this is a quote which I love. On International Women's Day, shared the same platform as this lovely lady, and she said, "Do not compare your chapter 5 with someone else's chapter 25." What I mean by that is don't be perfect. Get something done, get something posted up there. Done is better than perfect. Because if we wait until we're perfect, then nothing will get posted. And if nothing gets posted, you're going to disappear. People won't know who you are. Okay. FOMO tip number 5, direct connection, then get personal. So when someone has expressed an interest in what you do, get them into the direct messages, get them into the personal messages, and you can go really gangbusters here. So on LinkedIn or Instagram, you can send an Instagram story or send a voice message, or if you want to go really crazy, send a video. And again, don't worry about it being polished. You don't need to. Okay. This chap here is a LinkedIn expert, and he actually sent me a postcard, an actual postcard. It was incredible. And on that postcard, he said, if you go to this link, then I've got a video. And so I clicked on the video, and he showed me a personalized video. Now he was combining, a physical postcard with online. So what kind of stuff can you do to really uplift that customer experience, and what can you show to your potential clients what you do for your customers? Do you have a bunch of flowers upon arrival? Do you have chocolates upon arrival? Do you show them places that they can see, brochures? These are all the kind of things that you can show. Don't wait for them to, click on your website and see all that stuff. Put it onto social media, break it down, make it really simple for people to love what you do. And as I say, I've talked about creating one video and putting it in lots of different places. So I absolutely love my accountant. I decided to tell the world about him. So I did one video, shared it across all the socials, and I encourage you to do that too. And write different stories on each platform if you are on more than one platform. So here are just a couple of case studies that I did. Probably not relevant to yourself, but what is relevant is, again, this is showing behind the scenes stuff. So if you've got an event that's coming up, a special, in your city or town, if you've got something that's coming up, why don't you share about that? And again, that's showing sort of behind the scenes stuff. And as a result of the FOMO that I generated for this particular client, it actually increased in 25% increase in sales. And for this organization, it generated, a bit of buzz, bit of excitement, because I documented what was happening at the time when they ran a webinar. So if you've got an event that's happening in your local town and you're involved in it, talk about it, let people know what they're going to come to in your area, and you can definitely, capitalize on, especially if you're in a tourist area, you've got the tourist board. Look at their pages, look at the, local, Facebook pages, and share that stuff into your social media as well, because that's what people are going to see when they come to your, your residence. So this is just another conference that I did that's probably not relevant to yourselves. But what I did want to ask you though is, does FOMO work? Well, yes, it absolutely does. And you can ask Clubhouse, because they generated so much buzz and excitement because people were absolutely dying dying to go to this new platform. You know, they Android users were waiting, chomping at the bit to get in. I actually wrote about it because people were so buzzed and excited. So when you generate buzz and excitement, shout to the world and tell the world about how amazing you are and what you do. You know, exciting things happens for the lurkers. And on Twitter Spaces, same thing. It's basically like Clubhouse, but on Twitter, and it's way better. Not that I'm biased or anything, but I talked a little bit about Twitter Spaces with these two lovely chaps, and they generated FOMO. They created buzz and FOMO and excitement because they had beta testers. I was one of the beta testers, and I was showcasing what was happening. They implemented lots of new features very, very quickly, and within, I think it was 2 months actually, it was available for Android users. So now anybody can actually use Twitter Spaces. Clubhouse, you had to wait for months on end before you could get there. But FOMO for a business definitely works. Okay, so here are a few Brucey bonuses. I talk about FOMO in a lot of presentations. So if you go to slideshare.net/makingsang, you'll see lots of stuff there. I've also got on YouTube a few FOMO ideas that you can, you know, you can think about, you know, all the behind the scenes stuff that I was talking about. I've got a couple of videos there. I've been interviewed a few times about what FOMO means and how people can use it to the business. So that's on Pinterest, or a collection of all my interviews there. That's pretty much it. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question to you guys. What did you learn today about FOMO? And I'll stop there, stop my share there. So anybody, I'd like you to know, were you paying attention?
First and foremost, Making, thank you very much. There's a lot of links, a lot of information being shared, a lot of links. We will make sure that as many people as possible can get access to them in the Boostly Academy. I have been able to copy and paste the link to Gary V's Instagram and the hashtag, which was a really good one. And we will get the rest of them in there as well. Really interesting that you mentioned Clubhouse, because I think if you're looking for the most real world case study of fear of missing out in 2021, Clubhouse is definitely the one, the invite only. So a really good question that came in wasn't directly on Clubhouse, but it's about FOMO, and Hadil has asked this. So thinking about fear of missing out, thinking about how to start it. The question is, how far ahead should the FOMO start before the opening of a certain event? Now, an event in hospitality could mean anything. It could be if you've got a bank holiday weekend that's coming up. It could be if you've got special rates or a promotion that you're looking to put out to the world. So with that question in mind, how far ahead should you be looking to plan this?
Who asked the question?
Adil.
Sorry.
In sunny Yorkshire. Adil.
Adil. Hi, Adil. Great question. Absolutely love it. When do people plan the holidays? You know, bank holidays. It's probably about, what, a month, 6 weeks, 2 months. So, you know, you can start reminding people. I mean, don't go straight in for don't forget, it's bank holiday. Okay. What is it that you're going to be doing on that bank holiday? You can show behind the scenes of what you're doing. So actually, Mark, what kind of events would people have on bank holiday, would you say?
What I would be thinking would be exactly that. So you think about not just the date, but like you said, go to your local Chamber of Commerce, go to your local tourism board and see what is happening around it. So it may be that there's a specific local event that could be going on that is very prevalent to your area, and you could couple that together. So yes, it's the summer holidays or it's a bank holiday coming up for whatever reason. And it could be that there's an actual event going on that is FOMO-ish. So you can definitely utilize that. So I do like that. So let's just say we've got the August bank holiday coming up, which is obviously at end of the summer, you know, which is obviously a very, very popular one. So bearing in mind that this is being recorded 27th of May. So we've got a good couple of months, and you know, there's not been many instances when you're going to need availability, but it's just to say that you need it. So let's use that as an example. So what would you sort of suggest, seeing that we are a couple of months out? What would you start to think?
Well, I mean, going back on previous years, knowing, I mean, obviously this year's slightly different, but going back on previous years, what kind of things did you do in preparation for it? Did you have a big spring clean? Did you, buy some new furniture, or did you, I don't know, buy new flowers or things like that? These are all different activities that you can show as part of, getting ready. Okay. So you're actually sending a message. You're not just saying, oh, by the way, we're open for bank holiday weekends, open for bookings. What you're just saying is, we've just found this new florist, and, we just bought some great flowers, and start supporting the local area and showcasing them. And this is actually sending a message that, you're getting ready for, for August. And as Mark said, you've got the tourist boards, the Chamber of Commerce. Go and have a look at their stuff. So in the A for brand to FOMO, when I talk about authority, it's not just about what you're posting on your social media. It's also about you being the authority figure in your community. So if you can be like effectively like the local mayor and share great information into your social media, then suddenly people will come to your page to find out what activities are great for kids, or what places are open at the moment, what great restaurants there are, and if you share, if there's a local restaurant that you absolutely love and they've posted something, share that into your community, and tag them. They're going to love it. And if they love it, they'll comment on it, which means that, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, or actually any of the social media platforms, if you've had some activity on that social media post, then that platform will think it's useful. So therefore, it's going to show it to more people. This is something called an algorithm that they keep banging on about. Okay. So don't just broadcast what you've got coming up. Also share stuff from, from the local community as well. And get buzzed and excited about it. This is the thing, like a photograph tells many pictures, but, write a story. Don't just write a couple of sentences. We're all dying to get out, aren't we, this year more than any. So get buzzed and excited and let people know what's actually happening in your local area. Hopefully that makes sense.
100%. And it brings it back to nicely how I first came across Your Good Self Making. So it was right at the start of the pandemic, and it was the event in question was Atomic. And you had a very quick screen grab of it. And the whole reason why I signed up to the event was because of you.
Oh.
And I've never told you this, but you were just talking about the event, and bearing in mind, this isn't your event. This is a perfect example of what we're just talking about here. This is of Andrew and Pete, two guys are based out of Newcastle, fantastic coaches and marketing company, etc. And they had this virtual event, had to pivot to virtual because obviously everything that went down in March and April. And you were talking about it, and you were tagging them in and doing all of the things, and they were sharing it. And it was because of what you were doing pre-event, which is what made me wanted to book. So again, if you take that scenario and put you as the hospitality brand, which is basically the event, and then you've got yourself talking about the actual event, which is you, the hospitality business, and that is going to be something in your local area. Now, again, when you've got guests coming to stay with you, you've got to bear in mind, don't be naive and think that they spend 100% of their time in your property. They're going to be wanting to get out and about and explore, go and see things, do things. Yeah. So by talking about things that are going on in a local area, creating that FOMO maybe around an event or a special offer or whatever it may be, you are doing exactly that and doing the tag. So again, really love everything that you did with the FOMO Creator and the presentation and that event as well. Now, there has been a question come in, and I would love to ask. And if you don't know how to answer, because I know this plays a big part of your life, then please say, because I'll be able to give some suggestions. But Jill is her target audience aren't on social media. So how would you create FOMO for somebody whose guests don't spend the majority of their time on social media? I know you're very social heavy. You love the socials, but if somebody comes to you and say, I love the idea of FOMO, but none of my audience are on social media. How could I create this?
How do they find you normally?
It's a very good question back. I assume that they would be booking directly, maybe via a website or word of mouth, etc.
Okay. So it's a very good question. It's very good question. I mean, you've got would people be using emails?
Yeah. Well, this is it. I think I wanted to sort of say, if you don't know how to answer, don't worry, because I'll be able to give some suggestions to Jill. And this is something that, again, you've got a lovely, big, stunning self-catering property. If the majority of your guests and your future potential guests aren't using social media, then let's go super old school here and rely on the phone, or even better, handwriting a letter to your previous guests to tell them about things that are going on. Like, use it as a proper pen pal. And also, as well, as you're doing that, when you're doing the handwritten letter, the handwritten note, the email or the phone call, always bearing in mind that thing that I say to every single one of you, but do you know anyone? It is super prevalent and very, very powerful. So if I was writing to you, Jill, it'd be something along the lines of, if you can't make to see us this year, for whatever reason, if you know anybody, then do you know anybody that would like to come and stay with us? Again, if you know any friend or family member, because that way it is a peer recommendation, and they'll be able to go, oh, so I've got a friend, would love the property, love the area. And again, I feel by going old school, then you don't have to rely on social media. So
one thing I will say is that, you know, we had many years of junk mail, just throw it out, didn't we? But now we want to see the post that's slightly different. So if you are going to write a letter, make it different. Put it in a different coloured envelope, you know, and if you could potentially, get some, compelling photographs to showcase what you do. If you don't have computer skills, you may have, relatives who might be able to help you, but there's, a fabulous website called canva.com. A lot of it's free. You can create an amazing flyer, and put some really good quality photographs in there to assist you to make that letter really truly stand out. And if you are, Mark talked about the phone call. I mean, that's such a great idea. Who do you know? I think that's something that you could definitely do to try and stand out.
Yeah, definitely. And Jill's has been back in the Zoom chat saying, a target market, busy professionals coming together with friends or family, don't like to spend time on social media. Totally get that. So again, if it is the business professionals, think about, look on, say if you've got a couple of bookings, say you've got 10 bookings, and you've noticed a very trend on where people are, etc. So say that you notice that there's one town or city that is getting 80% of your bookings, then what you could do is you could focus on that area. And if they don't spend time on social media, well, what are they reading? So maybe there's a magazine, maybe there's a newspaper. Could you then contact that local press? Because press right now, printed press, are dying for people to spend money in their papers, etc. Could you put an advert in there? Could you do something in the classifieds, etc.? Again, try and get in their eye line. If they're not on social media, it doesn't mean it's impossible. There's loads of different ways to do it. Like Making said, make it stand out. Don't send some, and if you are going to post them off, don't do it in a boring white envelope. Do it in a nice, colorful, something that makes you want to open it. It's the same as anything. Just like on social media, make it stand out. Make it stand out amongst all those bills, which is really important.
One thing to add to what Mark said was, if you do approach local magazines, they're looking for writers. So if you can do a write-up and get something in there, that will really help. And again, it's not really about you. It's about your local area, if that makes sense. So, it depends on what they're wanting from you. If it is an advertorial, then of course it is about you. But if it's something about the local area, that's something that you could probably use as well.
I think what's really important, I think my big takeaway with FOMO creation and just marketing your business is just like anything. If you want people to be interested in you, you've got to be interested in others. And I think what's important in that is that find those local businesses that you can strike up relationships with, maybe even referrals with, etc. And what I love about May King is that whenever I see her online, she's never talking about herself, always bigging up somebody or mentioning something that they're doing, and it just draws the attention in. So May King could be talking about how amazing she is and all of her services and features and benefits and but it's never that. It's always talking about somebody else, which is where the appeal and just how I've just been attracted. And so many other people have just mentioned in the chat, the energy is fantastic. Like you mentioned, this is your brand. The energy is fantastic. You've got a shiny hat on, but it's the atmosphere that you bring around. So again, always think about, what are you putting off? Like, what is your aura? What is your brand that you're giving off? Like, Tracy, who is in the Zoom chat, goes live on the beach in the local area every single day on Facebook, phone in hand, and just having a little chat and a talk as she's doing the dog walk. And in the local area, she said before, it's just known as the lady who does the live videos on the beach every day. It's like, this is again, building the brand around it. And then people will start to take notice, and then they'll go, oh, so bed and breakfast owner, and just keep going down that rabbit hole. And then you become the recommendation. So that's how you sort of build the brand. So I really appreciate you coming on this evening and doing this, which is fantastic. Where, if anybody, apart from Twitter, or maybe it is Twitter, where, if anybody wants to keep in touch, where's the best place to do so? And what's the handle again, one more time?
I'm actually on all of the socials, so you'll find me on Making Tea. So Making Tea. So MAYKINGTEA. I'm on LinkedIn as well. Making Sang. That's TSANG. There was one final thing that I wanted to end on. I think that us as Brits, we don't like showing ourselves, and hats off to the lady who, goes live on the beach every day. That's amazing. Absolutely love what you do. I know there'll be others freaking out thinking, oh my God, I don't want to go on video. I've got a double chin. I've got grey hair. I don't look 18 anymore. It's not about you. It's about your customers. It's about the beautiful surroundings that you can get your customers to your place. And if you think about them and the wonderful place that that you can help to make their their stay really enjoyable, that's what you need to talk about, so whether it's self-catering or a hotel, whatever, there's lots of little stories, we're watching people watching stuff on TV. That's how nosy we are on Gogglebox, right? So we can also showcase. Don't think that what you say is not interesting, because it is. Your photographs, what you say. If you're passionate about your business, people will get caught up in that. And so, you can also inject that onto your marketing material, which way you do it.
Fantastic. Boostly Academy members that are in the Zoom room with us right now, I'm going to give you one final chance to ask a question to the fantastic May King. If you want to unmute your microphone, just raise your hand, we'll unmute you, and you can ask live. If not, I just want to say thank you very much, May King, for doing this this evening with us. It looks like we have answered all the questions. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you to everybody that has been part of the Zoom with us, Boostly Academy members, which is fantastic. And thank you to everybody who is outside of the Boostly Academy, who's been tuning in on Facebook and YouTube, etc. We're going to be doing more of these, and I would love everybody to tune in. If you want to be part of the Boostly Academy, if you want to be part of this Zoom room, all you need to do is you need to go to boostlyacademy.com if you haven't done so already. But we've got a very late hand raise. Making, are you okay to answer this question? Chris and Louise, I'm gonna unmute you. So the floor is yours.
Hi, Mark. Hi. I'm Making.
Hi.
The question is it worth paying to actually get some more traffic? If you're putting all the effort into doing all these promotions and all this work, rather than trying to wait for the social media and organic growth, is it actually worth paying to try and increase the growth that you have?
That's a great question. If you are going to invest, you need to do your homework and make sure you measure, because there are a lot of cowboys out there who will say, oh yeah, I could do a Facebook ad or I could do an Instagram ad. But you really need to perform your due diligence, because advertising is so powerful now on social media. It is incredible because you can actually, hone in on the kind of person that you're looking for, even the age demographic, the sexuality, the profession. You can actually hone in on that. We didn't have that when we had, Yellow Pages and so on. But you also need to know what your outcome is. What is it that you want to measure? Is it, do you want advertising to show your post to more people, to get them to follow you, to like your page? What is it that you want to do? So it's entirely up to you, to be honest. But don't be too dismissive of organic either. If you're going to use them both, definitely use them alongside each other, because as I say, you can't measure the lurkers, but they are there if you are creating interesting content and interesting posts. So it's how long is a piece of string kind of question. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Thank you.
Great question. And again, I think that the beauty of what we're talking about here with FOMO, PR, etc., is that if you do it well and if you do it right, then you don't have to invest a lot of money into it. And money can help solve any short-term problems. But when you do this correctly and you do this in the right way, this will just help always have a continuous ticking lead gen of future potential guests. And as we've talked about, not only the guest itself, but the people coming on the booking with them and their friends and co-workers, etc. So you shouldn't have to be spending much or any money when it comes to advertising costs. But May King, that was fantastic. Really, really, really appreciate your time. I know that you are got a lot on at the present moment, so we really do appreciate it. And hopefully all the Boostly Academy members will get in touch with you at some point in time and say hi. Now, very, very quickly before you go, Voices of Hospitality, something that I saw, which was pretty cool. Very quickly, if anybody wants to find out more about that, what's the Instagram handle? Where can people find out more? Where can they see all the past videos, etc.?
So it's on Instagram as Voices of Hospitality. It was a community-driven thing that we did for Lincolnshire-based businesses to really. We didn't know we were doing it we were looking at doing it before COVID, and then COVID happened. So, but it was, hopefully it'll inspire you some ideas on what you can do when you really truly open up and be human on social media. Honestly, powerful things can happen. And you can definitely be really, really upbeat, but show some vulnerabilities if you want to, but show the blooper reels as well. That's the kind of stuff that you can definitely do. I mean, there's loads of things that all of you can do to showcase, your property, your catering and B&B and what have you. We just need to do more behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, do go and check out Voice of Hospitality. If you've got any questions, then send me a DM.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, everybody, for being part of this. On Tuesday, the 1st of June, 8 p.m. UK, we've got another live masterclass. We're going to have Megan from Rural Roots, I believe that's the name of the company, talking about PR, proactive, reactive PR, and all that good stuff. So again, following nicely with what we chatted about tonight. So again, Megan, thank you very much. And welcome. Boostly Academy members that we have in the room, I've got one more thing that I need to do. You could just turn on your cameras, mute your microphones, as I always love to do on the end of these live videos. If you've got your Boostly mug or your Boostly ring binder or anything nearby, just grab it and just wave at the camera. Give me one of those cheesy waves as we love to do, or your drink. I love it. And on the count of 3, we'll say bye. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Bye, 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 everybody. All right, take care. We'll be back when we're back. See you when we see you. Speak soon.